Thank you for everyone showing up, taking the time out of the day. Hope everyone's having a good time. My name is Shane Nordy, coming out of Southern California area by Fallbrook area, Temecula, part of the Liseño, or in our language, the Pale Miquitian people. It's the people of the West, and I'm a board member of Decriminalized Nature. I'm also the founder and leader of Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. We're an earth-based sacrament church, and I also just got appointed to, I was picked by the governor of Maryland for the Task Force on Responsible Use of Natural Psychedelic Substances. So that's cool too, especially offering broader insight on psychedelics, considering that the mass majority of it's mainstream. A lot of it is, there's too many mainstream things. That's not a bad thing. It's not saying here, I'm not up here to say it's bad. I'm just up here to speak from my position and my lifestyle of taking these mushrooms. So I had a slideshow, I had a PowerPoint, but it didn't necessarily go right with this computer. But it was just showing pictures of kind of like the ceremony and what we do and how we operate. And I'll just do a little bit of history, not too much, because I always tell people, during the mission times, the missionaries of American Indians here in California, I always tell people a lot of our traditions and culture is gone. Even if we want to go back, there's other tribes that were living, like I tell people, in the Midwest. The reason why their culture is so strong is it's like you had a couple hundred years down here. When you had the missionaries and Spaniards and all these people down here coming and rallying us up and doing what they were doing, while the other tribes in the Midwest and whatnot didn't even know what was going on to a degree. And so, I always tell people the history is not so detailed as much as people know, but we have petroglyphs and whatnot. I got a couple pictures of the petroglyphs. You can see the mushrooms coming down. They're split on the side, and it looks like there's two DNA strands. I was just on a call with the people on the task force in Maryland, and I always hear a lot of people mention, oh man, there was never no Indians down in California or Northern America and whatnot that weren't practicing psychedelics. It was just down south of the Mazatec and Maria Sabina, and I'm here as a proof that that's not correct. And the research on that is, not saying it's incorrect, but it should be broadened more. There should be more research done. I always tell people there's a lot of ceremonies that Northern America doesn't even know exist. You can't just Google a traditional native ceremony and expect it to just give you the whole laydown and show you everything that happened. And so that's kind of how we operate. Just a little background on myself. I help Native tribes fight for their rights. Did a movement still going on. They're taking it to the Supreme Court. It's Oak Flat. They're fighting Resolution Copper. Rio Tinto, BH Billiton, they want to extract $60 billion worth of copper from their sacred site. And so just doing that work, traveling around Native country and being a part of the Native movement, that just, took me around, and I got to see how other indigenous people live, and then ended up coming back and, seeing the resources that we have as traditional people, especially, I've been doing mushroom work since 2011, so been a few years working with this medicine. And so I ended up coming back home and asking my mother, what do we have? I know we had ceremonies, we had traditional ways, to counteract with, when people die, when we see something traumatic, when something traumatic happens to us. There's many things we did, not just go to the doctor and people are saying get an SSRI or get diagnosed with this. It's like, no, there was, protocol, there was different ways, just like even simple as someone dying. I always tell people there's a whole protocol for that, and it's to help with the mind, body, and spirit. I've been to many different funerals where it's real quick and it's over, and it's like, how does that sit well with somebody? How does that sit well? Someone's gonna open casket and go in, a couple dirt, touch them, they bury them. It's like, then what? You still got the pain, you still got the suffering. So I always tell people these ceremonies help people, mentally unwind from traumatic experiences and connect back to themselves, back to their community, back to their people. And so just doing this medicine, like I said, I've done over 200 plus ceremonies. I've worked with special forces veterans, UFC fighters, just regular people, a lot of different people, not just tier one people, but, definitely work with those guys just to kind of see where the gist is, because working with so many people, I hear, all these different avenues of psychedelics, from microdosing, ayahuasca, ibogaine. So my field is strictly psilocybin mushrooms and reconnecting back to the spirit. And so with me, that's what I wanted to share with you guys, just be open, look more into things. I know it's exciting times for psychedelics. I'm very impressed with myself with seeing, some of these companies and people moving. But one thing that I see majority is a lack of spirit. You know, you got all these multi-million-dollar companies and pushing products. I always tell people, even paying people to put their supplements on a higher shelf, paying things, pushing statistics. You know, not saying everyone's a liar, but you know, if you guys know how the game works, you know, sometimes it's not always the most truthful things that are out there to push policy, push this, push that. I'm part of it, you know, part of DN board and working with Maryland. So I got a lot of gist on, you know, different DN groups, different boards, and, you know, pushing this, people in New York trying to legalize, Oregon, very connected into the psychedelic space. And so that's my thing to offer to people is the spirit. You know, if you come to me with a, you know, an issue or something going on in your life, and you know, the first thing I got to tell you is how much can you pay me, or give you some payment plan. I always tell people I don't know how much healing it involves, especially if that's where my motto is how can I make more money off of this? You know, especially if some people can't even afford some of the prices it takes to get certified, to go to a facility, to go to a center, rent out Airbnbs, whatever it may be. So when I hear a lot of the psychedelic talk, and not just, I'm not saying here, I'm just saying in general, like the broader spectrum, it's not geared to the general public. It's usually geared to this side, that side, or the rich people, or these ones. And so for me, I'm just trying to create equitable access, true equitable access. Because like I said, you know, the work that I do, I've seen people charge from $500 to $5,000 plus dollars to do psilocybin treatment and therapy. And I always tell people, you know, there's two ways to get data. You can get data in the wild, or you can go out there and trank that lion, put a muzzle on him, take him back to your facility, keep injecting them with tranquilizers, who else knows, and then you do your studies. You're going to get data, but what I say is that data is tailored to that degree, meaning like that's not true data. Those are data under, you know, circumstances that are made for that way, you know, versus going out and actually study a lion in its true form. You know, that's how I feel about psychedelics when it's so medicalized and scientificized. And don't get me wrong, there needs to be data, there needs to be, you know, protocol and whatnot. But I'm just saying that, you know, like we're talking about, you know, you're gonna get more data from the people, honest, regular people, versus the rich guy who is used to gassing up products, lying to the customers, you know, and ultimately wants to make the most money they can. And so for me, like I said, I want to promote the healing of, you know, free access, you know, and I've talked to a lot of people, and not very many people are offering free, you know, psychedelic therapy, healing assistance. It's very rare, and I mean truly, not just like, you know, the standard renting out and bringing some sound bowls and bringing, you know, your friend who's a shaman and bringing this person who's an herbalist and all that. That's not, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying like the way we operate, you know, it has a different type of feel to it, and that's kind of what I want to see in the psychedelic community, because everyone is talking about connecting and finding themselves and breaking out of the system and getting back into the land. And to me, I'm like, well, this is one of the ways. You know, you're not going to find, you know, Creator and Mother Earth, the guy in a lab coat and, you know, an artificial building, and you getting injected with synthetic psilocybin or some other synthetic or something else in that nature. And like I said, all the people that find that healing, but I think a lot of people would like to, you know, experience the natural side and the organic side and not necessarily have to go through the medical system and be told how much you could take or how much you could do. Just like in Oregon, you know, you can go to a facility and take, you know, psilocybin, but you can't pick one. You can't grow one, felony. But, and then they cap it at 50 milligrams. It's like, what kind of stuff is that? And then it's between 25, 35, up $1,000. So it's like, you know, who's going to want to pay that? You know, like I always tell people, if I was going to kill myself and I wanted to go get a treatment and I need to chunk out $5,000 and I need to leave the country, I need to leave my family, not everyone could do that, you know? Not everyone has that time to just be like, hey, I'm out of here. I'll be down in Peru, or I'll be down over here, or I'm going to fly out here. And it's like, not everyone could do that, you know? So that's one thing that I'm trying to also prescribe is,
Shane, if I could just
yeah,
interrupt you. Part of what you're bringing up is the difference between the medical model and the spiritual model.
yeah,
And I think it's important for us to understand that we've gotten shuttled into the medical model. And what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, is that model doesn't work. When
right,
we're talking about ethnogenic
right.
medicines, it's not applicable.
Definitely, and that's like with DN. It's like we have a model: grow, gift, gather. So it's like, no corporation should have control of what you need to take. Like we were saying, recreational, you should have the right to spiritually want to do what you need to do for your spiritual reason, religious reason, or just personal reasons. You shouldn't have a multi-million-dollar company or all these other people that really don't care about the human, telling you can only do this or do that. So that's one of the model that Decream pushes is grow, gift, gather, because it's, if you have tomatoes, it shouldn't be illegal for you to give tomatoes to your friend. Same thing if you're growing, psychedelics, mushrooms or something like that. Like it shouldn't be penalized or punished, especially with the community that wants to access these medicines. And then I feel like, it opened the doors for research too, and data. People want to do research in data. Well, it's like decriminalize it, open it up, open the doors, and let's start doing this instead of creating models that are just subjected to certain groups of people and demographics and not looking at the general whole people that want help, and that's how I see us as people, is just the general people that are looking,
Yeah, keep in mind, 80 million people took psychedelics last year. Probably 2% of them didn't legally. I would say less than 1%, actually. Because the only thing they could access is Oregon, Colorado, and Canada. The vast majority of people are accessing these more minor drugs like MDMA, LSD, and so on. We'll go deeper into that issue.
Yep.
I just wanted to kind of bring it up because it's
Yep.
something that everybody here should be aware of, that this stuff historically goes back, like Stephanie said, thousands of years. I mean, this is not new stuff.
Right.
And now to put it in this kind of folder that it's all new is kind of ridiculous in a way. These shaman, these traditions go back so deep. Would you do me a favor and just explain a little bit about your process, how you have a ceremony, what it consists of, when it's done in this kind of manner?
Yeah, so one thing I tell people too, like I have a friend who went out to an organ model, and he's saying it was like being in kindergarten. Come on, everybody, come on, hold your hand. We're gonna go to the bathroom. Come on, and come on, everyone, get up. And it's like also people just watching you and staring at you. And so like for me, and then I tell people too, there's not even any communal effort that much too in something like that. Like there's no bonding, there's no like familiarity with people, there's no building community. And so with us, obviously it starts, prior before the ceremony. I prep myself because it's heavy work. The ceremonies we do can be anywhere from 8 to 30 grams, and so some of these ceremonies can be very intense, very heavy on the mind, body, and spirit. So I always tell people, I'd start off with like hydrating. Hydrating just like I used to play football, so I just do like my hydrating regimen, and then from there it's kind of like just prepping myself because I got to go get everything. Nothing's just like right there for me in house. I actually have to drive up our sacred mountain, and so I'll go up there and I'll cut down the cedar, and then they got the springs and everything up there, so we'll go up there and we'll give offerings and pray to the springs and get our water. But in that time too, like I said, I can have a group of 8 people. 3 of those people know each other and 5 of them don't. So it's like now in this moment, as we're cutting the cedar, gathering, picking it up, it's like everyone kind of starts working. You create a community process. No one's just standing around like hands in the pockets, like, hey, hey, what's your name? What brought you here? What called you to psychedelics? What called you to this way of psychedelics compared to all the other models out there? Just asking simple questions like that. And then in that time, you start to build like a little community sense. And then Joe knows Jimmy over here, and Jimmy knows Frank over here, and now they all get a little communication. It's not strangers anymore. And after that, it's about 2 hours of prepping, cutting, and then we'll set up the wamkish. I'll get we use canvas tarps, and I'll set it up around our wamkish. Our wamkish is a big house in our language. That's just where we have our ceremonies, from puberty rite ceremonies to we did cremations when we did cremate, and we had other ceremonies in there. And but back to the.
You don't do it in a teepee?
No teepee. But I have done peyote and a teepee and whatnot. And so in that, process, then that's kind of when I start to tell everybody kind of like what we're going to do, how much do you want? Because I always tell people it's never, I never give anyone a set amount. You choose your own. People could choose 1, 2, half of 1, half of 1 and 1. Just people can choose. I'm not like, you need to take this, you need to take that.
You guys remember I mentioned that earlier, right? What he's saying now is so critical if you want to get the benefits. And that's to have a personal relationship with the medicine. My dose is not your dose. My psychedelic that I need right now is maybe not your psychedelic. There's a lot of variations. But when you have that communication with the medicine directly, it's not, you can't dose like everybody like a machine.
Right.
Ceremony, because every mushroom is different, every person is different, the stem is different than the cap. Our biological systems are different, how we respond. I know people, I have a friend, he can eat 300 milligrams of MDMA. I would go crazy, you know, and I'm a pretty good psychonaut, but for him, that's his base dose. It's not a high dose at all for his capacity. So this is a very important issue if you're interested in exploring it. And that's why we're going to do in the next session, talk more about microdosing, getting that communication before you even take the substance and how to do that. We'll cover that shortly, but thank you for bringing that point up.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just make it a little short. All in all, I just always say, educate yourself first and foremost. Do your own research and figure it out what it is you want out of psychedelics. And what is best for you, because there's just so many things out there. I say it's better to go somewhere and to know what you need for yourself instead of being like, come on, baby, just give it to me. Like, I'm here, I'm ready for some free love, and I'm ready to just have a good. It's like, not knocking on that, but it's not bad to have a plan and to know yourself and respect yourself and not let some people who may not even know too much about these substances trying to guide you to potentially may not even get what you need. So that's all I say is, just figure yourself, find yourself, and then find what's best for you, because, no one knows you better than yourself. So thank you guys for your time. And we're Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. Let's put a .com on that.
Take a couple of questions.
Oh.
Thank you.
What did he say? I missed the website.
Church of the People for Creator and Mother Earth.com. It's a long one. It's the only one. Church of the People for Creator and Mother Earth.com.